Well, it's Top 5 Tuesday today on the Total Sports Ozone. But first, we're going to recap last night's Monday Night Football game between the Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, I wanted to know how the Cowboys was going to play after the rough couple of weeks that they've had dealing with the death of one of their teammates, Marshawn Nealon. And I was wanting to see how they looked, and we'll discuss that. Plus, Jamar Chase has been punished by the NFL, but was it strong enough? Gonna get into that. And like I said, Top 5 Tuesday, where I give you my top 5 teams in college football and the NFL. And we're gonna do all that here today in the Total Sports Ozone. Big old with the big mouth coming at you on a Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. So let's get right into it. Last night, Dallas Cowboys took the field for the first time following the death of their teammate, Marshawn Nealon. And I have to say, it looked pretty good. Considering the team they were playing, like they were playing the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, if there's any team that you can try to get to do better than you have been doing, to get, let's say, get well against, it would be the Raiders. The Raiders are horrible at all. Offense, defense, special, they're horrible. But the Cowboys, so it wasn't about, for me, it wasn't about seeing the Cowboys win or lose this game. They should beat the Raiders. The Raiders are horrible. Cowboys are better talent-wise. They are better than the Raiders. I knew that. But what I wanted to see was how they were going to play mentally up here and in here. I mean, let's face it, they lost a teammate, friend, guy they go to war with, go into the trenches with week after week. And all of a sudden, I mean, he played that Sunday 2 weeks ago. He had played that Sunday, had scored a touchdown on a block punt. And then 3 days later, he's gone. And I know it hit the team very hard. And I wanted to see how this team, because I guess the good thing about it is they had a bye week to be able to absorb what happened, the mourn his passing, to celebrate his life and then get back to work. But I still wanted to see how this team would react after such a tragic event. And they looked pretty good. Offense, defense. Actually, I think the defense played their best game of the season defensively. Without a doubt, this was their best defensive effort of the season up to this point. I mean, they held the Raiders to a total of 236 yards. They got how many sacks they get on them boys? Was it 6? I'm trying to see how many sacks did they get. I know it was a lot. A lot of sacks that they got. Geno Smith, they got 4 sacks on Geno Smith. And one of them, and they even got a safety. So the defense did their part last night. And the Cowboys, they took advantage of the turnovers. The turnovers, the interception. They took advantage of that. They scored points. So Dallas Cowboys, for the first time, I think all season, played complimentary football. Your defense set the Cowboys up in great field position pretty much most of the game. And the Cowboys took advantage of that. Dak Prescott, good game, great game. 268 yards passing, 4 touchdowns with a QB rating of 138.6. Was only sacked once. was not pressured too much all the game. So I guess the loss of their teammate, I'm pretty sure they played with heavy hearts last night, but they also played well on both sides of the ball. If you're a Cowboys fan, this is what you want to see moving forward. You want to see these kind of effort on both sides of the ball moving forward. The question is, can they do it? Can they play this type of ball on both sides of the ball for the rest of the season? Like I said, their defense, that was their best defensive effort all year, no doubt about it. 16 points allowed and only 236 yards of total offense. This was their best defensive effort that I know I've seen all season long from the Dallas Cowboys. But can they build on this? I know it's the Raiders, so we can't get all. If you're a Cowboys fan, you can't get all rah rah shishkumba as about the fact that they beat up on the Raiders. Raiders are horrible. They flat out stink. Both sides of the ball. There's no area on the Raiders that is even average. They stink. But when you have the 31st ranked defense, you take any great effort that the defense put out against any team, whether they're the best team in the league or the worst. If you can get that kind of effort, it's at least a start. It's a start. Hopefully they can build on this. If you're a Cowboys fan, you can hope that they build on this. And like I said, with the Cowboys offense, I've said this in previous podcasts, with the Cowboys offense and the ability they have to put up points. I mean, they can score points with the best of them. As long as Dak Prescott and his core players stay healthy. They can score with the best of them. It's just their defense has been lousy. But if their defense, like I said, if their defense could rise to the ranks of mediocre or slightly below average with the offense they got, they have a chance. They still have a chance. It ain't a large chance. It ain't a huge chance. There's still a chance. I believe I saw a metric today. ESPN puts the Cowboys at a 7% chance to make the playoffs. So here lies the big question. Can the Dallas Cowboys realistically make a run at a playoff spot? Currently, they're 4-5-1, second place NFC East, but they're like 3.5 games behind the Philadelphia Eagles. Can they make a serious run at the Dallas at a playoff spot? My mind is telling me maybe, because we got to look at their schedule for the rest of the season. It ain't easy. They got the Eagles next week. Then they got the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. I mean, we talking about two of the better, or like the defending Super Bowl champions. You've already lost to them once this year. And then right after that, you got a Chiefs team that needs to start stacking wins. They're 5-5. And they need to start stacking wins. Those, fortunately for the Cowboys, the next two games are at home. But they're not easy ones. And then after those two games, you got to go see the Detroit Lions. That's not going to be a cakewalk with the way the Lions offense can put up points in bunches, and they can put up punches on even average defenses. Cowboys defense isn't even average. So you got that. Then you got home to the Vikings, home game against the Chargers, and then you go to Washington. I say, if the Cowboys want a realistic chance to make the playoffs, They need to win at minimum 2 of the next 3 games. They have no choice but to win 2 of their next 3 games. Any 2 of the 3. Eagles, Chiefs, Lions. They got to win 2 of those 3 for them to have a realistic shot. The rest of the season, after the Lions game, those remaining 3 games are winnable. Because 2 of those 3 will be at home. They're not winnable. The Commanders are not very good this year. Especially Jalen Daniels cannot stay in the lineup because he's constantly getting hurt. So the Commanders game, they can win that game. Even though it's in Washington. They can win that game. And then they got the Vikings and Chargers at home. So those are winnable games for the Dallas Cowboys. If they stay healthy and if their defense, like I said, if their defense improves from hot garbage to below average, mediocre. It doesn't have to be elite. We know it is not going to be elite. We know that. We all know that. At this time of the year, that we can kill all that noise about their defense being elite. But they don't need it to be elite. Not with the offense that they have. I mean, they can run the ball. They got CeeDee Lamb. You got George Pickens. You got Ferguson and Tiny. They can put up points if they stay healthy. But they just need their defense to just take 2, 3 notches above hot garbage. That's all they need to do. And they can realistically make a run at a playoff spot. They're not out of it yet. But the way I see it, for this remaining schedule, they will need to pick up 2 of the next 3 games. They got to win them. If they lose all 3, forget it. If they lose 2 of the 3, it's not going to work. They need to win 2 of the next, and they're not easy. None of these games are not going to be cakewalks. None of them. Well, ain't no game going to be a cakewalk this year when you have a defense that's ranked 31st in the league. But we got the Eagles. Then the Eagles have been winning ugly. But they've been winning. They have not scored more than, 16 points the last 2 games? But they won them. This is not college football, like I say. This is not college football. This is the NFL. And in the NFL, an ugly win trumps a pretty loss every day of the week and 3 times on Sunday. And the Eagles, the offense has been ugly, but they won. They found ways to win. So this will not be easy. An easy 3-game stretch for the Dallas Cowboys. Can they do it? All hinging on how improved the defense. Can the defense build upon their performance last night? They had a great defensive effort last night, but this was the Raiders. The Raiders are awful. But it's something to build on. And even Dak Prescott said to that. They played complimentary football yesterday, and hopefully they can build upon that kind of performance and stack some wins. We'll see. We'll definitely see. But last night was a good first step. And it showed me that I don't think they've gotten over the loss of their teammate, but they've used it to motivate them to play for him. And I'm pretty sure they're probably going to devote the rest of this season in his memory. And that will be a good touch. So that's what I wanted to see, and I did see that. I saw that they played with a heavy heart, but they also played good complimentary football. So their head was in the games. And that's what you wanted to see if you're a Cowboys fan. Was their head in the game, playing with a heavy heart, and playing for their teammate. And we saw that last night. 33-16 was the final. Cowboys are now 4-5-1. And the Raiders have dropped to 2-8. Big O with the big mouth and then Total Sports Ozone. Oh yeah, it came out this morning. I saw this on First Take, and I'm going to mention it now. The league, National Football League, has suspended Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase for 1 game without pay for the spitting incident that occurred against the Steelers on Sunday. Now, my question is, did the punishment justify the crime and the lie afterwards? Nope, not in my eyes. It sure didn't. Sorry. Should have been 2 games without pay plus a fine. 1 game for the spitting incident for the act, and another game for the lie. I mean, he flat out lied to everybody. Talking about, oh, that ain't nothing come out of my mouth. Really? Seriously? I'm wondering, did he see the video after he did that press conference? After he talked, after the interview, after the game? Did he see the video? I mean, we've all seen it. Anybody who is a football aficionado have seen that video. And unless that video was super AI enhanced, we all saw what came out of his mouth. And it wasn't like it was a little piece of big red chewing gum or a mouthpiece. It looked a little liquidy to me. I don't know about you, but it looked liquidy to me. And to me, it looked like saliva, which means you spit on the man. And it's one thing to commit that disrespectful act, especially against a colleague of yours. I know you're not on the same team and everything, all that, and you're supposed to be beating him and you trash talking and all that, but he is a colleague. He does the same thing you doing for a living. He's making money playing football. So, and he's a professional football player, just like you. He's making his living the same way you making yours, by playing football. So, in essence, he's a colleague. Not being on the same team, but he's a colleague. And why would you disrespect your colleague? It's in front of thousands and thousands of fans and millions of people on the field, millions of people watching. Why would you disrespect them like that? I don't care what y'all said. I don't care what was said. It's trash talking in all games and in all levels. It's always gonna be trash talking. But that's all it is, talking. It hypes the game up. It makes the game fun to watch. To me, the trash talking, because trash talking ain't nothing but your ego talking. That's all that is. But to spit blatant on another player or anybody for that matter, it's like you're asking for a fight. And that didn't look like it was an accidental spit. I mean, we've all accidentally spit, and we know how that come out. It don't come out as like a project out of your mouth. You accidentally spit. It's like kind of like drool on down your mouth, down your chin or something like that. It don't come out like a projectile coming at you like 30 miles an hour. So that wasn't accidental. And I don't believe the video everybody has seen, the close-up video we've all seen, wasn't AI enhanced. I don't think it was AI enhanced at all. That was real. And that was spit coming out of Jamar Chase's mouth towards Jalen Ramsey. Now, I haven't seen anything or heard anything about Jalen Ramsey being disciplined by the league or anything by the team or anything like that yet. I personally don't think he should be disciplined at all. He's just reacting to what he's reacting the way you, me, or anybody else will probably react if somebody spit in your face. That's just normal human. Jalen Ramsey just normal. His reaction is just normal human reaction. If anybody spit on your face, whether you knew him or not, whether he thought it was justified or not, he reacted the same way we all would. We gonna want to put hands on him. We want to put hands on that player or person or anybody who spit on us. That's just human. That's just like a reflex almost. That's how we react. So I don't think anything should happen to Jalen Ramsey. He reacted like any normal human being would react if somebody spit in their face. I know I would, and I'm pretty sure you would too. So nothing should happen to him. But I think Jamar Chase, 2 games. It shouldn't have been just one. It should have been 2 games without pay. 1 for the spit and 2nd for the lie. And from what I've heard this morning, he's appealing the suspension. On what grounds? This is what I'm saying. Did he see the video? Did he see the video of him spitting on Jalen Ramsey? We've all seen it. Video don't lie. It is what it is. So what was that? If you didn't do that, then what was that? Your twin? You got a clone? Where was you at? If you said he's start actually denying that he spit on him, but we all seen that video. So where were you at? What are you looking at? If I'm talking to Jamar Chase, what was you looking at? Okay, if that's wasn't you, who was that then? You got a twin we don't know about? Have you been cloned? What? That was you. You spit on that man. And you deserve to be punished for it. I said it before and I said it again. There's a line you just don't cross. Not just in sports, but in life itself. You don't spit in anybody's face. I don't care who they are. I don't care what you think about them. You don't do that unless you're looking for a fight. That's simple as that. There's no other rationale to it. That's not rational or irrational. It is what it is. You spit in somebody's face, no matter who it is, you must be looking for a fight, because that's what's going to happen. You spit in somebody's face intentionally, you are going to get in a fight. That's what you must be looking for. Otherwise, why would you do that? And that's what it looked like to me Jamar Chase was doing. He spit in the guy's face. That means you must have been looking for a fight. And Jalen Ramsey put his hands on the helmet, tried to put his hands around his neck. That's a simple license. Almost, like I said, it's almost like a reflex. Because that's what anybody would do if somebody spit in their face. I would. I'm pretty sure most of you all out there would. He should have been suspended 2 games. 2 games. 1 for the spitting incident, for the incident itself, and 1 for lying about it. Plus, I would have fined him about either $50,000 or $100,000, and I would have demanded that he call a press conference and formally apologize to Jalen Ramsey, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, to the Bengals, to the fans, and to the league. I'd make him sit him down in front of everybody. He has to call a press conference, and he would have to apologize. Formal apology to Jalen Ramsey, to the Steelers, to the Bengals, to the front office, the fans of the league, and the league itself for disrespecting another colleague in a way no one wants to be disrespected. That's what I would make him do if I was running the whatever that determines punishments, commissioner or whoever of the National Football League. That's what I'd make him do. 2 games, no pay, $50,000 fine, maybe $100,000, and a formal apology, a press conference for a formal apology. That would be my terms of his punishment. What do you think? Do you think 1 game was enough? I certainly don't. Let me know. Hit me up. Drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please. I appreciate it. Please. But that's the way it is. He should have gotten 2-game suspension without pay. Because you just don't do that. And did we not learn our lesson from what happened early? I mean, the Eagles guy, player that's spitting Dak Prescott's face. At least he didn't deny it. And he apologized. At least he knew he was wrong. He hurt himself. He hurt his teammates. He hurt the team. Because they needed him out there. He was one of, was it Jalen Carter? He's one of the Eagles' best defensive players. And he knew he was wrong. At least he had the manliness, the manhoodness, if you want to call it that, to apologize. He knew he was wrong. He apologized to Dak. He apologized to his teammates. At least he tried to make it right. Jamar Chase still denying it. That came out of my mouth. Really? The whole world done seen this video, man. How you gonna deny that? To me, that to know somebody needs to grow up a little bit. If you did it, you did it. It was disrespectful, it was unacceptable. You know that. And you need to man up, admit that you were wrong for doing it, apologize, and take your punishment. That's what a grown-up does. And it ain't just in sports, that's in life. If you did it, you admit it, you say your apologies, and you try to make it right. That's what Jamar Chase is supposed to do. He ain't doing that. That's somebody who got a little growing up to do. He's a great football player, no doubt about it. Pro bowler, everything. But he got some growing up to do. If you're gonna commit that kind of an act and you won't even accept the fact that you did it, you're denying the fact that you did it when the whole world has seen on a video that you did it, and you're still denying it, and you won't even apologize. All that money, you better buy yourself some growing up books. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Because I'm the coach of that team. He will be benched. I know I need him to win, to have a good chance to win. But like I said, there's a line you don't cross, and that's one of them. He should be benched, even if the league didn't do a damn thing about it. If I was the coach of the team, he's sitting down for a couple of games. That's just me. This is a line you don't cross, and he crossed it. That's just how I see it. Big O with the big mouth in Total Sports Ozone. Now, it's time to get into Top 5 Tuesday, where I break down my top 5 teams in both college football and in the NFL for their respective weeks. So, without further ado, let's get into, we're going to start with the college football. We're going to start with the college football. Let me get this set up here. And we're going to start with the college football week ending week 12. So let's get into it. Here's my top 5 college football teams for the week of ending week 12. Now, some of y'all, I know a lot of y'all ain't going to agree with my number 5, but you also got to remember, my number 5 team only has lost 1 game, and is to one of the top 4 teams in my list. I'm talking about the Oregon Ducks. They're my number 5 team. Their only loss is to one of my other ranked teams, top 5 teams. I'm sure y'all know Indiana. That's the only loss on the season. They have not lost since. Even they might have looked a little shaky in some of the games, but that win the week before, when they pulled out that win in nasty weather in Iowa, coupled with the fact that Alabama took a home loss, made me put the Ducks back in the top 5. And you gotta give it is what it is. I know y'all may be thinking, well, we're Ole Miss. Where is it? No. Ole Miss, I'll say this for Ole Miss. That train been moving, but that defense to me is just still too shaky. It is still too shaky. I'm thinking Ole Miss going to catch. Maybe now they may not lose. They may not lose rest of the season. They still got their rivalry game in a couple of weeks. The Egg Bowl with Mississippi State. But like I said, Oregon lost to Indiana. That's their only loss on the schedule so far. Now, this is tentative because they still got to play USC. The USC is coming on like gangbusters. But for now, I got the Ducks as my number 5 team. Got number 4 at Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs. What can you say? They've been handling business. They blew out Texas. Then a lot of people were a little leery about this game. They were a little leery about this game, but I wasn't. Georgia Bulldogs, but at least in this game, the Georgia Bulldogs took care of business from the get-go. I think they took care of business from the get-go. They didn't let Texas hang around and hang around and hang around and hang around. Not this game. They took care of business. Pow! They led 10 them, and then they just pulled away. Just pulled away from Texas. And what can you say? You beat a top 10 team in the college football playoff rankings and the top 10 teams, you're going to bring up. Plus, like I said, Alabama took a loss. So, Georgia moves up a spot to number 4 in my top 5. Now, last week I had Indiana taking a step back to number 3 and Texas A&M at number 2. If you remember my last week's Top 5 Tuesday. Well, I flipped them around again this week. I had to flip them back where they were, and I put A&M as my number 3 team. You have got to admit that comeback win at home against South Carolina was wonderful to see. Wonderful to see. It was wonderful to see, but they should have never been in that position to begin with. That first half was brutal. If you're an A&M fan, you know that first half that the Aggies played was just plain brutal. It's like they could do nothing right. And 30-3, I'm thinking, and I was thinking the A&M Aggies are in trouble. So, because who can come back from that big a deficit? And remember, there was a stat. Teams in the SEC since 2000, I believe 2004, teams that were down 27 or more points at the halftime break were 0-286 in SEC. Well, the A&M Aggies added a 1 to that 286. 1 and 286. They got the 1. But it also shows me A&M can be had. If that was one of the top 10 teams instead of just South Carolina, A&M probably would have lost that game. I don't care where it's played. A&M would have probably lost that game. But as it stands, a 27-point comeback win. I keep A&M in my top 5. They're undefeated. They do have wins against they do got that win they can hang their head on against Notre Dame. So on the road. But this is fluid. Remember this, y'all. This list is fluid. They do have to play Texas in 2 weeks in Austin. So they're holding on to that spot. But it's a tentative hold. It's a tentative hold on number 3. Because their season, I believe their entire season, is going to come down to that Texas game. We'll soon find out. So that means Indiana got bumped back up to number 2 on my top 5. Why not? They did again. Another team. Wisconsin had no chance against. Wisconsin had no chance against the Hoosiers at home. Mendoza has moved in front of everybody as far as the Heisman Trophy favorite. He's moved slightly up in front. Slightly. I ain't gonna say he's all the way up front. But right now, if the season ended right now, Mendoza will probably walk out of there with that Heisman Trophy. And Kirk Cinetti definitely should get Coach of the Year. Or he should at least be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. Indiana has had a wonderful 2 years. Probably the best 2 years. This year ain't even finished yet. But the best 2 years in their history as far as football is concerned. But y'all got to remember, the Indiana Hoosiers are the losingest college football program in history. But you can't tell that bunch that. And you can't tell this year's bunch that. They ain't trying to hit it. And they shown back-to-back 10-win seasons. Back-to-back. That's saying a lot. That is saying a whole lot for the Indiana and Kirk Cinetti and the job he has done. And that is why I'm personally glad that Indiana did the right thing by him and locked him up with that new contract that they gave him. You don't want to lose somebody like that that's brought your team, your program from who the hell cares about Indiana football wise to everybody know about them in just under 2 years. Made the playoffs last year. Surprise. But a lot of people say, oh, it's a fluke. They ain't going to do it again this year. They're not. It was just a 1-year aberration. They just had one good run of a year. And look at them now. 10-0. Look at them now. Actually, 11-0. I got to correct those records, but 11-0. So you can't say nothing bad about that. But it still ain't number 1. Number 1 is still the Ohio State Buckeyes. And the reason why? They haven't done anything not to be number 1. They doing what they're supposed to do. Now, I know a lot of y'all were saying, no, Georgia should be number 1. No, they shouldn't. Ohio State's still number 1 for a reason. Why? They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're beating teams. Like I said, they're beating teams they're supposed to beat. They've been doing that for years. That's what they do. Teams that they're supposed to beat. And they're beating them by double digits. All of them. They still have. Even though they gave up 10 points, they still have the best overall defense in college football. Both in yards allowed and in points allowed. 7.5 points allowed and just over 212 yards a game. That's it. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And Julian saying he's still the leading pass quarterback in charge of, as far as pass efficiency. He's still up on the 80% completion percentage. So Ohio State hasn't done anything to dispel the notion of why they shouldn't be number 1. They haven't done anything to do that. So they stay at number 1 in my top 5. And they'll stay there until now. This week they got Rutgers, their last home game of the season. They'll probably take care of business like that. I know both their wide receivers, Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, may not play this game because they're hurt. And they shouldn't. They don't need these two to beat Rutgers. I know that. They should just hold them out. If I'm Ryan Day, I'm holding my 2 best receivers out. Make sure they get ready physically for the game in 2 weeks. In a week and a half, really. That's the only game that matters now. Because, again, Ohio State's whole season will ride on the game. I mean, do you all know that if Ohio State loses the game, they may not make it to the Big Ten championship game again? They beat all these teams, but if they lose the game, they'll still go to the playoffs. They won't be a 1 seed. They won't get I'm pretty sure they won't get a first round bye. But they'll make it to the playoffs. But they can't win the Big Ten. They won't be in the Big Ten championship. It'll probably go to Oregon and Indiana. I don't know. So again, their entire season could be riding on the game. As it should be. Ohio State, still the number 1 team in the country. Number 1 team probably will be number 1 when the new college football playoff rankings coming out tonight. And they're still my number 1 team in my top 5. So there you have it. Only change I have, I took Alabama out. Hey, when you lose, you got to go. And I moved the Oregon Ducks into my top 5. So you got 2 SEC teams and 3 Big Ten teams in my top 5 at the end of week 12. What do you think? Have I made a mistake somewhere? Do you think this? Like I said, like they be saying on TV, this list is fluid. It's fluid. It can be changed. It can be changed now. But for now, that's my list. What do you think? Big O with the big mouth in the Total Sports Zone. Drop a comment. You think if you got somebody else, another team that should be up there, let me know. Let me know who it is. Let me know. So we gone from college football. Now let's bring up the NFL top 5 after week 11. Now, I had to make some changes on this one because a couple of teams that were in my top 5 last week lost. So you lose, you're probably gonna get moved out. Sorry, it's the way it is. That's the way it is. So here is my top 5 NFL teams after week 11. For the first time this year, I had to put the Denver Broncos into my top 5. I had to put Denver Broncos in it. You're 9-2. I know their offense is wishy-washy at best, but they just beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home. They just beat them. I know it was on a late field goal, and they kicked what? What did it kick like? They had 1 touchdown, 5 field goals in that game, but who cares? They won the game. They beat the Chiefs. They held the Chiefs to 19 points. They made Pat Mahomes look a little mortal. He looked confused. He looked mortal. He looked like he was uncomfortable most of the night. I'm telling you, the Denver Broncos defense is the real deal. Their offense, yes, it's still a work in progress to me. It is. Bo Nix, Sutton, they, with J.K. Dobbins not probably going to be out the rest of the year, I don't know. This offense is wishy-washy. But if you have a defense like the Broncos have, all you need to do on offense is manage the game, especially if you're Bo Nix. Manage the game and don't turn the ball over. You'll get the points. You'll get enough points. But with the Broncos defense, especially that defensive line, they are always going to keep you in the game. So long as you don't make too many boneheaded mistakes on offense, you're going to have a chance to win. Hence the record, 9-2. So you can't argue with the results. So I had to put the Denver Broncos in my top 5. They beat the Chiefs. Hey, went pushing their record down. All they doing is winning. They winning. Somehow, some way, with a mediocre offense, they're still finding ways to win games. 9-2 is 9-2. Number 4, I'm going to put the Philadelphia Eagles. They are just They're like a mirror image of the Denver Broncos. They're doing the same thing. They're finding ways to win, even when their offense has been wishy-washy at best. Do you know the Eagles the last 2 weeks have scored only a total of 29 points in the last 2 weeks, and they've still won? They still found ways to win, and they shut down two pretty good offenses to do it. The Green Bay Packers on the road, and at home last Sunday, the Detroit Lions. So that ain't too shabby. So I had to stick the Eagles in my top 5. When you can shut down two high-powered offenses like this, and even though your offense is at best wishy-washy, it's been at best mediocre. I mean, A.J. Brown not getting the ball. I mean, you barely put up over 240 yards in total offense, and you still found a way to win. Like I said earlier in this show, in the NFL, style points don't matter. All that matters is did you get the dub? And they gotten 8 of them so far. 8 of them. They still finding ways to win. You have to respect that. You might not like it if you're an Eagles fan. You might be a little concerned about how that offense is and the dysfunction that's on this offense for some reason. I get that. But you can't argue with as long as you're winning, right? I'm pretty sure Eagles fans are saying, hey, long as we winning, hey, this problem can fix itself. Long as we keep winning, and you're damn right. Long as you keep winning, however it works, whatever works, long as you keep putting dubs together. And that's what they've been doing. So I got them at my number 14. Number 3 this week, I got the Indianapolis Colts. They were on a bye, so I'm not going to move them. They're still what they are. I know there's been some little issue. People are talking about, can we trust Daniel Jones? Why can't we? I mean, you're not going to be 8-2 if your quarterback stinks. I mean, he had to have something to do with it. I know Jonathan Taylor on the running for offensive player of the year and everything like that, but Daniel Jones should be in the running for some kind of award, comeback player of the year, something. Because you don't get to 8-2 if your quarterback's garbage. I don't think so. Daniel Jones is doing what Daniel Jones is supposed to do. He had that little hiccup game in Pittsburgh. I know. But for the year, he's been doing what he's supposed to do. He's taking care of the ball, managing the game, taking shots only if he sees the opportunity. He's basically being a game manager. And with an offense like that, that's all you got to be. Don't turn the ball over. Take care of the ball. Take your shots. Take what the defense is giving you. Give your ball to your playmakers, particularly Jonathan Taylor. Let that man tote the rock. Because it doesn't seem like there's a defense around there that's able to stop him. So, why not give it to him? And don't sleep on the Colts defense. Very opportunistic defense. I think they're in the top 5 in takeaways. So they're a very opportunistic defense. And when you got an opportunistic defense that sets up the offense in good field position most of the time, you're going to have a record like that 8-2. Long as your quarterback is not throwing the ball game away, you're gonna have wins like this. You're gonna have a team like this, 8-2. They're doing exactly what they need to do. Quarterback, Daniel Jones. Don't turn over the ball. Take care of the ball. Manage the game. You don't have to win it. Just don't lose it for us. That's what he's doing. Jonathan Taylor. He should be in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. No doubt. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still in the running for MVP. He is that good. He is that good, and he's the straw that stirs the Colts' offensive engine or drink while you got it. So, you got to give it up to him. That's why I got the Colts still at number 3. I know they had a bye, so that means they stay right where they at. Now, my number 2 team is the New England Patriots. you cannot argue. They are the surprise team this year, in not just the AFC, all of NFL. I don't think anybody saw this coming from the New England Patriots. Yeah, they thought they were going to be pretty good, but the last 2 years they stunk. But I don't think anybody saw this with Drake May and Spawn Diggs and Trayvon Henderson now running the rock. Ain't nobody saw this coming. We all knew Mike Vrabel was a damn good coach. But can anybody out there truthfully say that they saw the New England Patriots be leading the AFC East by a couple of games over the Buffalo Bills? Did any of y'all can say you saw this coming? I say you're full of shit. Because I know I didn't see this coming. And it's a good thing to see. We can all say the New England Patriots have moved on completely from Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The Tom Brady / Bill Belichick era is now a wonderful memory for the Patriots. Now they're moving on. Now they're in the here and now. Mike Vrabel, Drake May, Spawn Diggs, and them boys. Now they're moving on. Now they can completely put that era back in the back if they make it to the Super Bowl. And quite frankly, the New England Patriots have that shot of getting home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Yes, I said that. The path to the Super Bowl in the AFC could be going through New England. Like it did back in the Belichick Brady era. It could be. Don't know. It sure looks like it. They're 9-2. And they haven't done anything for me to knock them out of my top 5. They're playing excellent football. I know they've been winning a couple of nice close games, but this is the NFL. On average, most games are going to be close. And you got to learn how to win those close games. New England has learned. They get stops when they need to make stops. They get the touchdowns. That's how they beat Tampa Bay. They got the critical stops when they needed to, and they got the critical scores when they needed to come out of there with a win. How can I not put them in my top 5? I'm keeping them at number 2. But the number 1 team, my number 1 team this week is still the Los Angeles Rams. I know they look not very good on offense against the Seattle Seahawks. And I know they lucked out winning that game 21-19 because the Seahawks missed the game-winning field goal. Still, they won. And they leading probably the hardest division in sport in the NFL, the NFC West. All 3 of those 4 teams should make the playoffs. And the Rams right now got the leg up on all of them. They did hand Seattle a rare road loss. Yeah, Los Angeles offense didn't do much of a stank in the second half. Yeah, but they still found a way to win. They found a way to win the game. And that's all that matters. And now that they're 8-2, I know their schedule is very favorable to them. So they should coast. Now that they're done with the 49ers, they should coast to the NFC West title and quite possibly, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Although the Eagles will have the tiebreak over the Rams because the Eagles did beat the Rams head-to-head. But the Eagles slipped. Rams could be right there to get home field throughout the playoffs in the NFC. This is going to be a very interesting second half of the season. I really think it's going to be real interesting because, as you can see, we ain't in my top 5. You're not seeing the Chiefs, you're not seeing the Bills, you're not seeing the Ravens, you're not seeing the Chargers, you're not seeing the Steelers. You're seeing, for most of this is new blood. This is new blood at the top of the rankings. Denver, Indianapolis, New England, the Rams. This is new blood in the top five. This is not the last 4 or 5 years when it's been the Eagles and then and the Chiefs and the AFC. This is new blood. And that's what we want to see. That's what I like to see. I like to see new blood rise to the top. And that's what we're seeing this year. Look at the top five. New blood. Denver, Indianapolis, New England. The AFC has definitely got new blood rising to the top. And that's what we want. That's what I want to see. Like, you want to see that parity. You want to see younger teams come up some. Come up a lot. You get kind of fatigued when you see the same old team year after year trying to go to the Super Bowl. You get fatigued with that after so long. I know I do. You want to see that new team. I wish it was one of my teams, really. But you want to see new teams, see what they can do. See how they can handle the pressure. Now that they're one of the teams that are going to have a target on their back. The Colts, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Rams. These are teams that are going to have targets on their backs now because they're leading their respective divisions. They're the top teams in their respective conferences. And they're going to have targets on their back for the rest of the season. Let's see how they respond. Let's see if they can still do what they need to do to keep winning games. Like I said, it's going to be a very interesting next 6 or 7 weeks in the NFL. Because like I said, with my college top five, this list is fluid. It will change. I guarantee you it'll change next week. It will change next week. I guarantee that. Well, that'll do it for me in the big old with the big mouth in the Total Sports Ozone for Tuesday, November 18th. Tomorrow, we will go over the college football playoff rankings for the third week, which will be released tonight, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. So on my tomorrow podcast, we will go over the college football playoff rankings and see who's too high, who's too low, who still got a shot, and who ain't got no shot. We're going to go over all that. Plus, I want to talk more about Shedeur Sanders. I didn't want to get into it today because it'll just boil my blood, and I don't want my blood boiled today. But we're going to talk more about Shedeur Sanders and what the Browns need to do to either help him or let him go. We're going to get into that tomorrow on tomorrow's podcast, okay? Big O with the big mouth signing off from the Total Sports Ozone. And I will see you tomorrow here in the Total Sports Ozone. Have a good day.